Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the second episode of The Legend of Lensmoor. As you can see, I'm just finishing uploading the first one, as well as my word salad TV show of Yes, I Love You. From the minds behind Cleverbot, I guess. As you can see, it's about Naruto and stuff this time, or something. I don't know. I don't choose the topics. Alright, so let's talk about the easiest way to play Lensmoor. Easiest way to play Lensmoor is to go to lensmoor.org, click on Play Now, wait for it to connect, which takes a second just because I'm uploading stuff. Usually it's instantaneous. And then this pops up. And then you can type in your name, Kagog, and your password, which I'm not doing, and then you'll be logged in. Instead of doing that, we're going to remember this number, 751261412002, and the port number 3500, or just lensmoor.org 3500, and we are going to go to the mud connector. What's behind here? I don't have anything incriminating. Okay, yeah. My desktop is just a black screen. Alright, so then you go to your mud connector. So this is what it looks like, and this is how you would connect. You would go New World, you would call it Lensmoor 2, because I already have one. And then you would go to whatever it says, whatever that number was. I think you can just go lensmoor.org. 3500. Save world automatically on close, and you are connected. See? And if you just want to take a look around, you just go guest, guest, and you're in. As you can see, there's a message board, out of character boards and in character boards. That's what OOC and IC stand for those not into role playing. And then where do you start? You start in the entryway. So, welcome to Lensmoor. If this is your first time on a mud, you should go west. Type west to get information about how muds work and what you are supposed to do. If you are an experienced mudder, head east for a summary of the most important differences. If you're making a new character and have played before, type Go Chansey to enter game. Certain players have a star next to their name. Oh yeah, a star next to or brackets around their entry in Who list. They are willing to help you get started with role-playing if you ask them. We have an extensive help file system. They do. Index letter will give you a listing of all the help topics beginning with that letter, along with a brief description of their content. You are welcome to use the newbie channel for clarification. Alright. So now I'm going to log into my character. I'm just going to log into this one. Alright, so my character on the Lensmoor side is named Kottke, and I am going to here so that I don't get hacked. Alright, so now I'm logged in. And you can see I can read the messages boards, but I'll tell you a little bit about this character. So first we'll look at the description. I'm not going to give you the actual description file, but you'll see. Look self. L here is short for look. So Kottke is a large female ent. Kottke stands here, a tall, straight-trunked, wide-eyed ent. Her leaves are multicolored and rustle wildly as she tilts her head left and right. Her bark is fairly smooth and is deep brown. Her roots twitch slightly in rhythm with her leaves. Her left eye looks deep and heavy-set. Her right eye looks fresh and awake. And so the point of the game like this is to basically play it however you want within the rules. RP is not required. This character is going to be doing lots of RP. That's why I made it. And it's easier to RP when there's more people on. There's actually a lot of people on right now, probably because it's the weekend. And so there's different channels. We'll go for the channels first. Yeah, so if you want to just log in and not move at all, you want to look at the channels. There's the gossip channel, which is for in-character stuff. The out-of-character channel for just out-of-character stuff. The player kill channel, which is where you talk about PvP. Grats is your congratulations channel. The auction is an auction. Music, I never really used the music channel. Clan channel for when you're in a clan. Group channel for when you're in a group. Prayer. In-character messages to the immortals. Beep. I don't know what that is. Shout is just what it says. Yell is what it says. Tell is an out-of-character communication. Def turns all channels off. I guess that's okay. Info is the game info. Quest is what you see at the bottom of the screen there, and I pointed to it instead of moving my mouse. Right here, it's what tells you people complete a quest or not. Typically followed by grats. Thought that wasn't around when I was I don't think, last time. In-character tells, I believe, is what they are. Say is just what it says. You talk to the people in the room. Room, out of character. Emote is an action. Damage is apparently the damage messages. That wasn't around last time I was here. Chat, or there's like 10,000 chat channels, each having a various use. P-chat is a private chat session. That wasn't around last time I was here. Worshipper is for, heard by all the followers of the same deity and that deity. Newbie help is where to ask for help. Timestamp puts the time the message was sent prefixed to the text. Oh, I have timestamp on. That's what that does. And debug turns on debug mode. Whatever that means. Alright. So this character, since it's going to be mostly an RP character, is going to have a personality and a background. And so I will show you the background. You can edit your background by using back edit. Or no, background edit, because back is short form for backstab. Because you're more likely to type backstab than background. Alright, and so here's my... And this is just a simple text editor. You can cut and paste and do some basic stuff with it. But I will read for you the background of Kottke. Kottke was born in the wilderness, and so never met her parents. Growing up around no other ants, she amused herself by talking to all the creatures that she met and trying to guess what they might be saying back. That is a run-on sentence. It was a sad life, as she could never be sure if they were telling the truth, but she continued to talk to them regardless. Being deep in the forest, she experienced the full force of nature. She would stare in fear and wonder at all the bright lights crashing to the ground and tearing the trees around her apart. Watch the roaring fires from afar. Marvel at the night and day. Convinced that someone must be controlling all these powers she saw around her, she started following her friends out of the protection of her forest. While traveling, she met many new things to try and talk with. The babbling brook, the fish, the rampaging tundra mammoths. She also saw many new scary and powerful powers. Snow, lava, deserts, distant eldritch bolts. Still, she was lonely, and still could not tell if her friends were telling her the truth. Eventually, she ended up in the northeastern forest of Lensmoor. There she noticed that the powers in the sky seemed much prettier, but much, much more scary. She wondered out loud as she always did, I wonder what does that? A quiet, hollow voice seemed to echo in her ears. Lensmoor. This frightened Kottke, as she was certain that made sense to her. She whispered to the forest itself, Lensmoor? And a breeze blew her leaves to the southwest. Bracing herself, and always wondering if her friends really were telling the truth, she decided to start traveling southwest to the first place she saw that could possibly be controlling the powers that scared her so. And if I wanted to edit this right now, I would. There's a whole bunch of grammar nonsense in this. I'm terrible at grammar. And you press ut symbol to save it. And so why I did that, this seems like oddly specific maybe, but it'll make more sense when I show you the ents help file. Background information, no, game world. Races. Oop, Lensmoor races. So this is the story of the ents, which is not here. Oh, there we are. But ents are the walking tree-like beings, large, powerful creatures, unlike any others. They are naturally slow, but are strong and wise. Surviving on water and sunlight alone, they need neither sleep nor food. Due to the nature of their flesh, they can never be affected by haste. Their max stats at 24 strength, or whatever, you can read it. 24 strength, 19 wisdom, 24 constitution, 18 int, 15 dex, and 15 charisma. So basically it's going to be a fighter psionic. Or something like that. Ents learn navigate and pottery at the start, and they show age at 70. Then there's the ent RP file and the ent history. Ooh, uploaded. Oh yeah. Plug myself. Look at all my stuff. Alright. Yeah, I'm going to be live streaming this soon right now. I just have terrible upload bandwidth, so I can't do both. And these are sort of just introductory, so I don't think it matters. It's unclear how the ents of Lensmoor came into being. However, some falsely credit the god of nature, Olo, with their creation. They are ignorant of the fact that he himself came into being as a forest spirit, risen to immortality long after ents first roamed. Olo was an actual character, or an actual immortal, if I recall correctly. Which means it was a person in the game. In the beginning, they had no homes of their own, living entirely in harmony with the nature of the wilderness, and it was due to their closeness to nature that they developed a druidic society. The first other race they encountered were the fairies, then the sprites, and finally the elves. Together these races became collectively known as the Fae Folk, and together ruled Lensmoor in peace for uncounted generations. The natural balance of nature seemed to be reinforced in the presence of many ents, and the trees themselves seemed to flourish wherever many gathered. Much of the greenery that covers Lensmoor today was brought about by entish druidism in harmony with the other Fae Folk. The ents fostered one great forest nestled in a small corner of Lensmoor, known as the Grand Green, a paradise of old-growth trees. It was called this Grand Green that became... it was this Grand Green that became the center point for the Fae Folk for many generations. However, in time all things must pass, and the time of the Fae Folk ruling over Lensmoor came. For their own reason, each race turned away from the forefront of history, turning inward. The ents were no different. They sealed off the Grand Green from outsiders, to forever be lost within the wilderness, and set forth to rekindle the northeastern forests of Lensmoor that were ravaged by wildfires. Hint, hint. The land was so ravaged that it was possible trees would never grow there again, and a large chunk of Lensmoor would turn barren for the remainder of time. As custodians of nature, the ents could not allow that to happen. With the blessing of the gods, the ents sacrificed themselves by going into hibernation and planting their roots in the ground. With the aid of divine magic, they became the foundation for a new forest to arise from the ashes of the old one. Their saplings had only the vaguest of racial memories passed down. The location of the Grand Green and all but the most vague recollections of it were lost to history. Although some of the older generation's Ents are said to have survived, their whereabouts are unknown. Some even theorize they ascended to immortality, but to the world of mortal Ents, the knowledge that came before was lost. This new generation of Ents were not bound by the druidic society of their ancestors. Creating a brand new society of their choosing, the saplings took their separate paths in life and worshipped different gods. Many became stewards of the place of their birth, founding the city of Toron that was a home for all Ents. For many decades, the world was an unsafe place for Ents, and they remained in Toron. Although the Ents had not inherited the memories of their druidic ancestors, they still had the nature of Ents, which was untouched by outsiders. It is a neutral one, and so neutral Toron remained. Through all the human wars to come, the Ents took no stand with either the light nor darkness. 2 years after the destruction of the human capital of old Lensmoor, the Ents received the call of the gods and were summoned together to help the humans rebuild, and that they did. After New Lensmoor's completion, many Ents went out and made lives for themselves in human, elven, and Sidhe. I don't know if it's Sidhe or side communities. In more modern times, however, the Ents too have begun to hear the call of the other races have heard for some time. The call to adventure. Nature is a thing of order and balance. It is neutral to the petty struggles of good and evil. Edinbark, priest of Olo. Alright, so that's the background on Ents, and here's the Ent RP file. These are some general suggestions for role-playing of Ents. One of the Ent settlements is Toron to the east of New Lensmoor. The changes of leaves are of cultural significance to the Ents. They celebrate the first green shots of spring. The changes of leaves are of cultural significance to the This is terrible. The changes of leaves are of cultural significance to the Ents. They celebrate the first green shoots of spring and the change of leaves in autumn. Ents can resemble various kinds of trees in cosmetic appearance, but they are essentially the same race, despite having different bark and leaves. Ents prefer to walk and rest on softer soils than rocky soils or roads. Given their attention to time and detail, Ents tend to be patient and don't look for instant gratification. They will frequently deliberate on decisions before taking action. Because of this, they are often very dedicated to whatever path they choose. Ents are fond of the earth and often prefer objects of clay to other materials. Many Ents live very close to nature. Ent homes usually include a homage or reference to the natural world, such as earthen floors, a garden, planted tree, or lack of a roof. Ents tend to form tightly knit communities, though not restricted to other Ents. As a result, they also tend to be very loyal. Ent appearances are generally more tree-ish than humanoid, although some have arm and leg-like branches, trunks, and roots. Ent fertility may not be an issue, but it takes a lot of care and patience for a seed to eventually grow into a full-fledged sapling. Even then, many saplings never make it to adulthood. Some Ents may grow different varieties of flower to indicate their mood to others. For example, bright colorful ones when happy, to even being able to grow delicious fruit when attending celebrations or parties. Alright, well, that's that. That is an Ent. People doing group quests. Alright, and now I'll show you my personality, which you can just do person show. Kottke is a whimsical and easily mystified Ent, who always likes getting her way. Being raised in the wild, she has lots of weird reactions to the things she sees, and she sees the other residents, I think I spelled residents wrong, of New Lensmoor doing. Though she has trouble understanding the social cues of the people around her, she loves interacting with people. Unlike other Ents, she is impulsive and quick to judgment, but true to her Ent nature, she stops and listens closely when spoken to. Prone to losing things, getting distracted, and losing her sense of direction, she is not currently much help in a team-based environment, though she very much enjoys the company of others. She came to New Lensmoor with no particular goals, but seeing all the new wondrous magics around her, was determined to have all that power for herself. As you can see, I could really use an editor. And you can always change these, though wild changes in role-playing should not happen. So, like, eventually she might not be bad in a team-based environment. And then I would change that. Right? Okay. So how do you play the game? How long are we going here? This has been 21 minutes. I guess that's all. It took me 20 minutes to describe this character. I didn't even get into the actual mechanical side of it. I am terrible. I'm just giving you like a look at what we're gonna be talking about next. Next, we're gonna be talking about my advantages, why I chose them, and what practices and trains and stuff are. Okay. See you all in episode 3 or 2.